Hello, I'm Rod Harmon. My wife Janet and I own Fun-Tronics. We make all the reproduction parts for all the folks that restore vintage soda machines. And today I'm going to show you how to take your old crank handle and take it apart, and what you can re-chrome and what not to re-chrome. And then I got one here that's finished, and we're going to show you step by step how to put it back together. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to need to take the crank handle apart is I recommend to wear safety goggles, because it is a spring in here under pressure. Just a screwdriver, some grease, Q-tip to put some grease in it. So let's get on our way here, and I'll show you how to take this original one apart. Put your safety glasses on. On the back side here you have 3 screws. What you have to do is remove those. Once we get those 3 screws off, we've got a backing plate back here we need to take off. Usually you just hit the crank handle and they usually come loose. Sometimes you might have to pry them. Just wiggle its way out. Once you get that off, you got your spring in here, and that's what's under pressure. That's why you got to wear safety glasses. Be careful because of that, because that could fly out and hit you in the eye. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our screwdriver in here in that spring. We're going to point it towards the table, and we're going to try to pop it out. Just like we just done there. Pops right out. Your end pieces come out. We'll take this here piece out. Shaft. And then there's this little metal angle piece in here we got to get out. That should be it. You got your crank handle. Got your backing plate. Your shaft. Your metal piece. Your spring. You got one of these stoppers in there. And your screws. That's all you should have. Now, when you want to send this off to be chromed, I'll send this, your main crank handle, and you'll send this backing plate. But as far as your shaft, your spring, or this other metal piece, do not send those, because if you send those and you have those chrome, you won't be able to get your crank handle to work proper, and it won't go back together the way it should. So this is how we take one apart. We'll put this one aside now. Now I'll take you through the process how to put your crank handle back together. Okay, now we're going to start with the one I sent off and I already had re-chromed. I had the crank handle re-chromed. I had the backing plate re-chromed. The shaft here, all I did was buffed and polished it on buffer. I buffed the shaft, the metal piece, the spring. So this is where we'll take a little bit of grease on a Q-tip. Put a little grease down in the bottom and around on the sides here where the shaft goes in. Don't take a lot, just a little bit. Once you get that done, take your shaft with the opening part facing towards this opening part right here and put it in. Just move the grease around a little bit to get lubed up in there. And you got your spring, you got your stopper. Stopper goes in like so. Put your spring in with the stopper facing towards the shaft. Might have to use your screwdriver again to get it to go in. It's kind of tight. Okay, once we have that in, now this is the tricky part. Determines how your crank handle is going to work or not. Is this little metal piece right here? It's got one end's more angled than the other one. The one end's just barely angled and the other one's got a bigger taper to it. So what you have to do is you got to pull your shaft about 3/4 of the way out, just like I did here, to where it comes flush up here. Now what you got to determine is, where do you want the bigger angled piece on your metal piece and the smaller piece? And how you determine that is when you put it in on that shaft, if this would go pushing down, that's when you're using the crank handle to crank your machine. When you crank down, it should have the less angled side hitting. So in other words, like right here, I'm pushing the crank handle down, so that has to go, the left side has to go right here, because For an example, the less one goes here. So when you're cranking the crank handle down, it's pulling this up and it's hitting the solid part. Now when you're breaking it away, you're going the other way, so that way it gives more give because this has more angle right here on this here part. So that's the tricky part. So that's what we're going to determine is where we should have our angle. So we're going to crank it down to crank. So that would mean the less angled one would be pointing towards my table here, and the one with the more angle will be pointing up. So now we're going to put it in. And how to do that, you get it just angled like that. You start it at an angle. Not too much, just enough. Push down on the metal piece and push down your shaft all in one motion. And it should pop right down in, just like it did there. Goes right down in there like that, like so. Just take your backing plate, pop it back on. Your 2 longer screws go on the back side. Once you get those tightened down, that's pretty much it. Your crank handle's together. Now what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you how to test it and make sure you put your angled piece of metal at the right angle on this coin mech here. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to test your crank handle to show you how this works. We've got the hairpin clip and we've got a coin mech here that's been restored. We sell coin mechs, reproduction coin mechs. If you don't want to restore your mech, you can buy one of our reproduction mechs. We also sell the hairpin clips, and we also sell reproduction crank handles just like the originals too if you need one. So here I'm going to show you how to put the crank handle on and how to test it. Basically you just slide it on the shaft, line up the hole, put your hairpin clip in, which for the demonstration we're not going to push it all the way down because I'm just going to show you how to work it here. So basically it should be tight like this. It shouldn't break away when you're cranking down like this way, like you're going to Vend until the dime's in. So then if you have to open your coin door and your crank handle is supposed to break away, this is where we'll find out if we did our metal piece the right way. If you go the opposite way, it should break away just like that. Comes back. So when your crank handle comes back, it locks into place. So it's ready to Vend again. So, like I said, breaks away freely, like it's supposed to open the coin door. Comes back, locks into place, and you're ready to Vend. Put your dime in, crank handle should Vend right on through. That's basically all there is really to it. We'll try this out here. So it Vends through like it's supposed to. And that's really all there is to the crank handle. I hope this video has helped show you how to take your old one apart. We went over what to send off the chrome, what not to chrome, and how to reinstall the new one, put it back together. If you need any parts, you can go to our website, www.fun-tronicsllc.com, and you can find all the parts we have available. I hope this helps you. Thank you very much.